following every Patriots game.
And the Patriots have won their 6th Super Bowl title. In the early 2000s, they won 3 of 4. Now they have won 3 of the last 5. Yes, it's still a dynasty.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
I hope y'all keep that same energy for tonight, baby. Can't wait.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Slipping and sliding, he was like a cat. Pop, pop, bang. Well, the Patriots failed to get the win in their Week 18 contest in Miami. They fall to the Dolphins 33-24. Hardy, Paul Perillo, Mike Dussault here to break everything down on the Patriots Postgame show. All right, we'll fix it, Mike. We have OCD boy over here. All right, one of the monitors is off. We're fixing it right now. Are you going to be okay?
I've had a hard night, Hardy.
You have. Tough night for your defense there, Mike.
Oh, they're not my defense.
I looked at Matt. I go, I thought you did that. He goes, I did do it.
Yeah, that was odd.
That game just didn't want to be put off the TV for some reason.
You remember Mike chastised me.
We're a mess.
So we're gonna break everything down here, but just your initial thoughts on the game to get rolling here, Paul.
Just a continuation of their nightmares in Miami. They just, they continue to do things in the games that they lose to hurt themselves, and you can't make the kinds of mistakes that they made. And this is going to be another game where people are going to say, but the defense just didn't give the ball back to them. You can't build multiple score holes, especially on the road, and expect to come back and win. Everything has to be perfect. All the other team has to do is get a first down, and the game is over. That's what you've seen. That's the pattern. You can't fall behind. Mac was a big reason why they fell behind. The defense was a big reason why they fell behind. Just really not good in any phase. The special teams problems continue to exist. I just don't know what else to say about this team. They just can't seem to consistently play the kind of football they need to play to win.
Well, I mean, they had some nice plays, and they
had a lot of nice plays.
They indicated, the ability to do some things well, but the full effort, and as we get into the good, the bad, and the injured, Deuce, I just think it's the way you start this game, and it just set the tone for the rest of the game. It was, not enough good, and quite frankly, the first two drives, or the first drives for both the offense and the defense were so poor that you put yourself in a 14-0 hole that you're just not playing well enough right now to dig yourself out of.
No, and what's the saying when somebody shows you who they are, believe them? It's something along those lines. I mean, this is who these Patriots are. And I mean, they are a team that starts slow, that hurts themselves with mistakes, that have critical special teams errors, and a team that can't get the clutch stops at the end. I don't know why. I mean, I look at last year as an anomaly, but you look at 2019, similar kind of thing. You have a little hot streak, everybody's feeling good, and they fall apart. And that's what's happened this year. I'm not really sure, what's going on with the team. It just doesn't look like a team that has come together and bonded over the course of the season. It looks like a team that is falling apart, going their own way, and is probably going to be one and done.
I personally think they were listening in the locker room, and they heard your key to the game, which was all about building momentum.
That's my fault. You're right. I take.
They looked past the Dolphins, classic trap game, and decided that we're just going to be thinking about the postseason. No, I mean. It was quite the antithesis of building momentum toward the playoffs. You dropped three of your
What's
last.
The opposite of momentum.
Losing 3 of your last 4 to end the season. That's the opposite of building momentum.
But it's not even just losing 3. It's the way. It's the sloppiness. It's we can start, I guess, getting into the good, the bad, and the injured. But it's just, to me, it's the way that they're playing that is more troubling to me than anything else.
I mean, did anyone really think that they were going to get a stop at the end? I mean, maybe you did, Paul. You tend
to
believe in them, but
I got to be honest with you. I didn't think they were going to get a stop, especially after the first play.
And how disappointing is it that it's exactly how the first game of the season went? You needed a stop at the end, and Tua ran the ball right down your throat.
And I got to tell you another thing. Like, I did think that there was a reasonable chance that Miami was going to get that second first down to end the game on offense. But I didn't really have much faith that the Patriots were going to go down and kick a field goal to win, because I felt like just Miami was better today.
Yeah.
And I didn't think they were going to lose the game. Not that I gave the nod or anything like that.
No.
But I didn't think they were going to lose.
More bad news from Florida. Bob Saget died.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
Like a few hours ago, they found him in his hotel room in Orlando.
Oh.
Oh. Wow.
Well,
There's a
just when I thought that game couldn't go any worse with all the injuries, also Christian Barmore, I guess, took a cart off, to anyone who didn't know that. So if you needed an extra little bit of terribleness to this game, there's the frosting on the cake right there. You're promising defensive tackle getting carted off at the end. So
There's the cherry on the cake of
Yep.
our day. All right. Well,
Shall we?
let's get into the good, the bad, and the training
It's time
room.
for the good,
Pretty good. It's pretty.
No, you're good. You're good, Hardy.
Pretty good.
the bad,
If you were in my toilet bowl, I wouldn't bother flushing it.
and the training room.
You want a back rub?
Presented by Theragun.
Good, the bad, and the training room, brought to you by the good players, the bad players, and the players headed to the training room, presented by Theragun. We'll start off with the first good. Deuce, who do you have?
Oh, nice. Brandon Bolden, come on down. You are one of the few on the good list tonight.
Very few.
Couple touchdowns.
I had him on the good list twice.
Well, so did I somehow. So
Oh, really?
did I somehow.
I put him on early for his touchdown run and, behind the block on the third down, and then I put him on again, just said Bolden solid again. So that might tell
We
you
had the same kind of game, I guess.
that might tell you a little something about how this good section might go.
Yeah, nice. Nice couple of runs from Bolden. That was one I was like, oh God, on that third down they were giving it to him, but he took it in for the touchdown. You're seeing this one here that they picked up the flag that he did get in. So 2 of the touchdowns. What can you say? Thank God they had Bolden tonight. I don't think they got a lot out of many guys, but he was one that delivered a couple scores. So.
Yep, I have Brandon Bolden as one of the very few goods here. Who do you have, Paul?
Well, I'm going to put Jacoby Myers on for a couple of big plays that he turned in. Not necessarily known for those, downfield kind of plays, but I thought, they were in desperate straits, dire straits with the 17-point deficit. They had to have it, and I thought he made a couple of plays, 4 catches for 70 yards with a long of 39, and not easy. Couple of tough catches too. One that he was completely outstretched, and another one that he, I thought, went up in traffic and came down with it. So I thought Jacoby Myers did his part.
Yep, I got 16. Catch. All right.
Yep, Jacoby Myers, one of my 3 goods. I had J.C. Jackson down as an early good.
I did too on that play because
Yeah.
that's an
That was a
individual
big
play.
stop.
Though it's an excellent play.
Right. That. I mean, if it goes into 21-0 there instead
Yep.
of 17, it's a little bit worse. I had JC there as well.
Yeah, the end, the busting up in the end zone, and it was a good play. It was a heads up play, and I mean that's it. I mean we got a couple more to get to, but we're talking about. I guess his performance today was pretty good. It was more based on that one play. I didn't add a whole lot to it after I saw it and marked it down as a good. But all right, we all had it, so that's
Yeah,
legit.
I thought he had some good coverage. I thought, in addition, for the same reason I had Jacoby Myers, I had Hunter Henry. I thought
Yep.
there were a couple of big plays. 5 for 86 for him.
It's good.
Long of 35. Another tough. I'm like, that's that. Like you want to say like, well, why didn't you think they were going to score? Because I thought that's the plays that they like. These catches that they were making for offense today were like special.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how much. I mean, they must have had 3 or 4 really exceptional catches today. Not that they were bad throws, because they weren't bad throws. They were put in the only place they could get caught. But those are hard plays to make. And I thought, you're down 17, you got to have them, and they had them. They made them.
Yep.
So I put Hunter Henry on too.
Yeah, I had KVN on there just for that third down sack.
Yep.
I mean, again, it was just a play.
I did too.
Nice play by
Hardy
him.
thought he would come to play against Miami in the pregame.
Yep.
Didn't notice him in any other play, however.
Okay.
I'm here to entertain.
What else we got?
A little gallows humor after a.
Go ahead, put him on. Do it.
Nick
Yeah.
Folk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. He's on. Didn't miss anything.
Kept going. Closed out like he started it.
Yeah. He was 1 for 1 on his field goals for 43 yards and 3 for 3 on the extra points. So, good day for Nick Folk. Big part of unfortunately, a big part of the offense this year. And it's not over. We're going into the postseason, and things are still okay for this team. It's just not the way you wanted to go into the postseason. So, but we'll give credit where it's due, and Nick Folk certainly deserves to be on the good list today. All right,
That's all I got.
Paul. Anything else?
That's all I had.
All right, let's get to the bads. You want to lead us off, Deuce?
Who gets it first? I think there's a lot of places to go with this one. I'm going to start off on a weird one. Just special teams. I think that penalty on Lawrence Guy,
I got it,
which is just an unacceptable penalty. The Brandon Bolden one, ticky-tacky maybe, but still, it talked about it literally at the top of this show, was that it's one thing when the special teams aren't, giving you touchdowns and stuff. It's another when they're costing you in critical moments of the game, and those were two critical moments. And this is a 3-point. Well, I mean, I guess it wasn't a 3-point. It was a 9-point.
No, but a 3-point.
But it's
loss.
a one-score game at the end, and again, this is just another example of you can go right through the whole season. You look at every game they lose; they all look the same, and it's all like this. And yet again, special teams shortcomings in key spots was a big part of it.
I would just add to the special teams part, those were enormous plays. But also, you got the ball at the 45-yard line after you decide not to go for it there on the 4th and inches, and then you punch the ball into the end zone. Like, that's bad special teams play all around. It contributed to a bad day. I think Deuce's first bad is definitely worthy of being at or near the top of the list.
Absolutely.
That was not good today.
I mean, you mentioned it was Guy on the illegal formation on the special teams. I mean,
and the teammates were, you had mentioned, I think Judon was trying to get him out of there. It was either Judon or Bentley.
It was Judon who was like pointing at him like, you can't be right there. He was just to Guy's right, and Judon is pointing with his left hand like you can't be there. You can't be there when the ball is snapped.
And there was one other special teams thing. Gunner did a terrible job on a punt to not come up and get it and fair catch it, and it allowed it to roll, and that really flipped field position. It ended up being a 63-yard punt when I want to say that might have been the sack by Van Noy pushed the Dolphins back. They were punting from inside their 10, and ends up with a 63-yard punt, which flipped the field position. Bad play by Gunner on that. So a lot of special teams breakdowns.
Tonnage. It's a tonnage issue.
All right.
Too much.
What are you going to go, chronologically or the first overall bad? Paulie Paul.
I will go with Mac Jones again, not being ready to go at the start of a game on the road, and this has been a little bit of a trend here down the stretch. I just wonder if he has hit the rookie wall a little bit. And again, I don't have any questions about his toughness and his mental, ability to continue to fight. I don't think that this is not like middle school basketball.
Yeah, don't worry. You don't have to disclaim.
Okay? No, but what I'm saying is we don't need to, wonder if guys are going to respond if they don't have things go well. I think we all know the Patriots will not fold their tents up and go home. But at the same time, I don't need to give them credit for that. Because good teams don't just fold their tents up and go home, and the Patriots are a playoff team.
Right.
So the pick six, he got fooled. It happens. But more so than the pick six were some other plays I thought just looked unsettled to me for large stretches of the game. I thought he threw the ball a little bit quick on a couple of plays where I didn't think there was a tremendous amount of pressure on him. Like I said, I thought that a lot of the offense that he created was really thanks to some unbelievable catches by his receivers. I don't think he was a train wreck today by any stretch of the imagination, but early on, he allowed them. He was a big part of the reason why they fell behind.
Yep, I certainly had him on the list. The interception, the fumbled snap, to me is the one I just can't get my head around. That on the broadcast they were trying to make some sense of it, with Ted Karras being in at center as opposed to David Andrews, but it's just I don't know how you explain that away. And it was every possession that the Patriots had today was a pivotal possession.
The fumbled snap was an enormous play in the game, and Andrews, they had reported, had to leave the game for an equipment issue. And now the snap was not on Ted Karras. The snap was up. It was where it was supposed to be, and it looked like Mac came out a little bit too early. But that's an inexcusable turnover. You can't have a fumbled snap ever.
No. So that's that. I have just going chronologically. The defense on the opening drive was just 13 plays.
This is a great one, Hardy.
All but one of the plays was for a gain in yards, and they converted on 3 third downs on that drive. So you had minimum 3 chances to get them off the field. And instead, you allowed them to march down, burn a ton of clock in the process, 13 plays, and score the first touchdown to open up the game. I don't know if it set a tone, but it certainly was. It was exactly what you're telling yourself, and I'm sure that the coaches are thinking, this team can't play from behind. We can't afford to do that.
So I said, if you just come out of the first quarter with the lead, and I think you would have been home free. You couldn't do that. And to Hardy's point, the 3 third downs, though, you know what they got? 3rd and 1, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 1.
Right.
You're going to convert those, even if you're not a good offense like Miami.
Right.
You're going to convert those.
So that was to me that was my first bat of the game.
And again,
that's a good one. That's a good one.
What troubled me? I already talked about this. The connections to the first game was it's the same thing in the opening game. 10 plays, 80 yards, touchdown. I mean, it's the same thing. So it's like I get that they had a whole season, but like on one level, you look at it and you said, what did you guys do all year? Like, you didn't figure out Tua then. You had nothing now.
And no one covers Jalen Waddle. Like, it's 3rd and 1 from the 7. He's obviously their most targeted receiver, and no one covered him. And now, let me tell you something. Like, in terms of the whole game, they're fortunate that Miami is, like, as, sort of inept offensively, because they had play. I mean, was it Waddle that ended up having the ball go off his hands on that slant that was a little low?
I think so.
It was
Behind him?
Like Tua was just Tua's just not really all that good.
It wasn't a great pass, but at the time, I remember.
I think he might still be running.
You got to catch that,
and he might have been gone.
Oh yeah,
and at the very least, it was going to be like a 25-yard gain. They had another play to Gesicki that he threw it behind him and it went off his hands. I just think, to Hardy's point about the first drive, I know that everybody knows what they're going to do. Why are all these guys so open to start? Like, I was like, the secondary with the short stuff is how I wrote it on my bad list, but it's exactly what Hardy just explained. Listen, I know they're good players. I know Jalen Waddle is not a stiff. I know Devontae Parker is not a stiff. And Mike Gesicki's a pretty good tight end. I get that. The whole their guys get paid too, but you know how they're going to come out. It's going to be RPOs, the ball's coming out quick, all short stuff. And you can't stop it. You couldn't stop it. I didn't really get that.
Yeah.
Where you see the difference between Tua when it's 3rd and, say longer than 5, and he's got to take a conventional snap in the shotgun and drop back. He looks like a totally different guy. But they couldn't really get him in that position when he was not having the mesh point to sort of read the defense as he's doing that. He was much more effective. And again, 15 for 22. Did exactly what he wanted to do all day.
Yeah, I don't think I put anything on the list for that one, but I was working my way to the run defense, and so 195 yards rushing against. We've been having this conversation throughout the year of you did all this in the offseason, try to fix the run defense. Talk about bads. I mean, Judon getting pinned on inside on that one that everybody on all the Twitter seemed to call out. Guy, Devon Godshaw, Carl Davis. I mean, they're not. And even when Miami was, it was just like it was against Jonathan Taylor, best back in the league, but not best back in the league here today. Even when they're stopping guys, it's 4-5 yards after the line of scrimmage. Nothing is behind the line of scrimmage. Nothing is plus play. Like, nothing is done, where you're putting them into long yardage situations. Like Paul said, they get the 3rd down, 3rd 1, 3rd and 2. No problem. They were picking those up all day. I think, this game just kind of cemented it that I think that they've got real questions about how they're doing this, because you knew all week RPOs. I mean, I'm an amateur analyst here. I guess I'm a professional, but I'm talking RPOs all week. Like, so you had nothing really in the bag to defend those. Now, talk about Duggar being out Hightower, all those guys. Like, does it really matter? Does it really matter? This looks like the same team, no matter who's in.
It was the same offense they ran in the week 1 when those guys were in.
Exactly.
But just to Mike's point, this is a team that has run the ball 399 times this year and averaged 3.4 yards a carry. Today, they ran it 43 times for 4.5 yards a carry, and that counts all the kneel downs at the end of the game.
Wow.
Like,
you had nothing. You had no answers. I mean, you get run over. I mean, it's like they say, you want to be a
Duke Johnson, 25 for 117. He's a journeyman third down back.
So going into the game, they ran the ball 399 times?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an average of 25 carries a game.
Yeah. But for an average of 3.5 per carry.
For an average of 3.5, and today they ran it
43 times. for an average of 4.5 a carry. So I think there's something seriously wrong with the run defense. I think any team that decides they want to try to run the ball is having success running the ball against the Patriots. And it figures to get worse if Barmore's injury is as serious as it kind of looked.
Yep.
All right. I forget who's up next.
It's just kind of a free-for-all.
It's kind of a
bad
free-for-all.
list tonight.
I want to go with, specifically, I think Judon has kind of been skating.
Yep.
And so I have him on my bad list today for a couple of reasons. One, the roughing the passer was so completely, useless. Like, if you're going to get a roughing the passer, at least make it be because you were getting there and you got there a step late and you hit the guy. For no reason, he's running by, he reaches out his arm and kind of – now, Tua took a flop, and there's no question. But he makes him call a penalty because –
stupid.
He just reaches out, way after the fact for no reason. That was a dumb play. What I think he's getting a pass on is his inability to set the edge on the run, which I think is becoming more and more of a problem in the second half of the season. I think that at the beginning of the year, everybody just looked and said he keeps getting all of these sacks, and everybody was willing to overlook the problems. I always thought that he was a strong run support player.
That's what I thought coming in, right?
He has not looked like that. I'm not telling you that he's a bust in free agency. He's had a really good year. But today, I think, is indicative of how he's played sort of down the stretch, and not great. And I think Belichick thought he was not great either, unless he's dealing with something, because he was in and out of the game a lot today.
You got to mention the penalties just kind of in their own, and I don't want to get into the pass interference calls because I think they balanced out, and I think you could argue that it maybe cost you a few points in the balance. If you're going to give up 3 here,
the penalty on Bolden was questionable, no doubt about that. But everything else evened out.
And that resulted in 3 points. You got gifted one where I was out of the room for, but that resulted in 3 points for the Patriots. There's a wash there. I think the touchdown that ended up getting on the play that went all the way down to the goal line. Okay, there's some wiggle room there. I'm talking about going back to the Lawrence Guy penalty that gave them the first down on the
punt.
The punt. Thank you, Mac. With the false start on 4th and inches.
Well, I also had the fact that the one he had to take the timeout to avoid the delay of game, and he didn't take the timeout. He was pissed at the sideline. That was going to be a delay of game. Like this, that's the stuff that can't happen.
And part of that is on the coaching too. Max false start on the 4th and inches. Why is the play there to try and get them to jump off sides? What can you not pick up a first down and 4th and inches?
Right.
And once again,
coaching needs to be on the list.
You needed that first down. You didn't need them to jump off sides. It's like, if they don't jump, we'll just punt. No. You needed that first down. You needed to convert whenever you could. And when you were inches away from a first down, you needed to just sneak it over and get on with the rest of the drive. But instead, it's so cute. Oh, it's just so precious. So, trying to get them. And instead, Matt goes into this convulsive fit, trying to get the defense to jump, and instead he gets called for it and pushes him back. And who knows? Maybe they still should have gone for it, but at that point you can't blame him for not, because they were about midfield, if I remember.
Well, once you get the penalty, you can't go. Well, you shouldn't go for it.
You shouldn't, but
it's a good thing they didn't, because they punted, nailed him out inside the 5, and. So I think I might have said earlier that the touchback came after that. So I got the sequence wrong, because now that I'm thinking of it, the punt that Bailey had that was effective, that they downed at the 7-yard line, they're backed up at the 7, and they had no problem moving 60 yards out to the edge of field goal range. And if Tua doesn't, sort of foolishly try to run for the first down there, they probably give up a field goal at the end of the half.
Does that fake 4th down thing ever work past the initial? No one's going for it after that. If you don't get them there, just all right.
That's it.
We tried.
Right.
But there's just so many. There's a handful of moments today where it's like, not only do you lose, but you kind of look dumb in some of those.
You look
instances.
a little foolish. Yep. All right. What else do we want to point out?
I'm annoyed. Let me just leave it at that.
Oh, I know.
What else are we doing here?
What do we got?
I don't know. What do you?
We got more bads.
Nah, but just a
thing?
a work thing.
How about this? How about McCourty dropping the interception in the
That
numbers in the first
can't
quarter?
Get dropped.
It can't get dropped. You can't do that. You're playing from behind to start the game.
Yeah, and
That can't get dropped. That was an easy pick.
You know, and that's another element of they're not getting takeaways anymore. They're not getting takeaways in the 3 losses. You finish the season 1-4. You get 3 against the Jaguars. You get none against, or what they get against the Bills and
1-3.
1-3.
Let's not pile.
What did I say? 1-4?
Yeah, let's not pile.
I got carried away.
But when McCourty drops that ball that's thrown in between his numbers, I believe they were trailing 14-0. And
I think you are correct.
And
I think they went on and kicked a field goal on that drive.
Come on, man. We're watching the Buffalo game and the Jets game. That thing hung in the balance all day. You're thinking, wait a second, this could actually happen. This could go down.
And somehow Buffalo covered.
Yeah, well.
Oh, jeez.
So I had McCourty on there for that play too. All right. Anything else we want to get to the injured?
I don't know what else to keep.
I just thought
piling
that
on.
overall
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it all show, so we don't have to.
Overall, I thought that in terms of the bads, they just didn't come to play, and I that's really unfortunate. And I understand the game didn't have a tremendous amount of importance, as long as Buffalo won, but I would have thought that they would have treated it differently than they did.
Yeah.
I don't think they came to play.
And I mean, and the weird thing is that, depending on how the result goes tonight, it really might not matter. Like in the standing, like they're going to play the same team.
Oh, yeah, if the Chargers
which
win,
is
we
fine.
should probably break that down. If the Chargers win
It's
the
pretty
game
simple.
tonight,
Yeah.
the Patriots will remain at the 5 seed.
Yes.
If the Chargers lose tonight to the Raiders will be the 5 seed. The Patriots will be the 6. And that is the difference between going to Buffalo and going to
so Raiders
Cincinnati.
win, you play the Bills. Chargers win, you play the Bengals. Correct.
But Paul, here's a scary notion, and I don't believe in this, but it's going to be out there. What if they did come to play and?
Oh, I just mean like they didn't play well. I didn't mean necessarily.
Okay.
I think they.
No.
I think they had it. I think that they wanted to win the game.
And they wanted to win the
I don't
game
think
too.
they laid down.
Okay.
Wasn't like Philadelphia last night.
No,
They played to win. They just didn't play well.
Okay.
I agree.
What if they did play? If the defense played about as well as it could on that opening drive, what if what we saw from the Patriots on their opening offensive drive? They're script. This is your best chance to march down the field all day with your 12 scripted plays, and let's go out there and do it. And that really was. I don't think it's what they're capable of at their best. We've seen them do much better. The problem is it's been against truly bad teams or teams that were riddled with injury and COVID absences or in weird situational games. So just prepare yourself for some of that. There are going to be some real Chicken Littles who are saying like, oh no, they came to play, and that's as good as they can play.
Well, I mean,
it's not as good as they can play,
but
they
that's
came
who
to
they
play.
are.
They just didn't play
this
well.
is who they are. Like, I mean, I don't want to say how good or bad they are, but this is who they are. That's what they're doing every week now. When was the last time they beat a good team in a big game? Like October?
I mean, Buffalo.
This is who they are.
That's it.
And that was a unique situation.
Yeah, and it was. And I'm
played
sorry.
right
I
into
know,
their hands.
I know Patriots fans hate when you do that because it seems like you nitpick, the wins. But I'm sorry.
They got to find it more consistent.
Is different.
Yeah,
than a normal game.
They gotta when they're playing well, they need to stick with it and be more consistent with it because look, there are too many instances where you can say, well, obviously they can play better than that. It's like special teams, all the issues there. That's been happening for a while. We've been harping on the special teams and how they have cost them field position and points here for the last quarter of the season at least.
How many penalties have they had on special teams?
Oh, I don't know, but they had 8 tonight.
Special teams penalties. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, right from the very first game of the year, I think Judon had that personal foul on a penalty on a punt on the sideline. Wow. I mean, they have had an inordinate amount of penalties on special teams. Now, this one I think this is a tough call. Yeah. I don't think. Now, here's the thing. Bolden comes in here head first for no reason. Like, look, I mean, he's leading with his head, and that's what the official saw. Now, terrible call. He didn't hit him.
Yeah.
You can't.
But if he did, it's an obvious penalty.
Right. You can't give him a penalty for intention.
I'm telling you
it's
right now.
It's a terrible call.
I didn't even count this one because I think it is a terrible call. Now Bolden should probably not have dropped his head like that, and whether he just grazed him, and it's like, yeah, dumb call. And not to pile on Lawrence Guy, but what are we doing? When's the last time you saw that called? Illegal formation on the receiving team on a punt.
I agree with you. That's just not
like
having any awareness as opposed to Bolden coming up desperately trying to stop the punter from getting. And this is just a dumb. Like, I know that Tua takes a dive here. But why do you have your hands on him that long after he released the pass? Yeah. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
All right, let's begin with. By the way, sorry, Brandon. Brandon in Atlanta. I want to thank. We got to get to the injured. I'm going to put Brandon on hold.
We have a lot of injured, actually.
Yeah, Brandon. Hold on 1 second, buddy.
A couple guys left and didn't come back.
Yeah,
Mike, you want to run them down?
Yeah, that's so Sean Davis was the the practice squad who got called up. He's out, wrist. Isaiah Wynn left with an ankle injury, did not return. Stevenson left with a head injury, came back, though. That was a good sign. I know 37 was out for a moment, Damian Harris, but he came back, too. And then the big one, 90, Christian Barmore on the final play. Looks like he took some friendly fire from Juwan Williams, which, of course, it's just, I mean, I think of everything that's bumming me out right now, the Christian Barmore injury might be quite possibly at the top of the list because that will affect you next week. You know, I mean, this loss, it might not really matter. You might just play the Bengals anyway. But this injury right here with Bill Barmore, he got carted off. You could see, I mean, just sometimes you see those guys on the ground. It seems serious. Just a huge buzzkill for an awesome first season for him. He was a huge part of the defense, and, now they're going to have to probably figure out something else, maybe make some miraculous recovery. But, not enjoying that.
I guess there's always a chance that it's not as serious as it looked, and I know that some people said after the broadcast went out that he was carted off.
Yeah.
Well,
so
I thought I saw him sitting on the sideline.
Yeah, he was over there, and then I don't know, I saw Twitter.
When I think carted off, I'm thinking never gets up off the field, they bring the card out.
Oh, no, they brought the card. It's like the Ty Law thing.
Over to the side.
Did you ever hear the Ty Law story?
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh on Halloween in 2004, he had that. I think it was like one of those Liz Frank injuries. It was a serious foot injury. And he got himself up and said, no, you never take the cart out the field. And as soon as he got to the tunnel, he called for the cart because no one can see him. So he called for the cart. No, I don't. No one carries me off the field.
It's like the opposite of Paul Pierce.
I like
it. It's sort of the anti-Paul Pierce. Yes.
Well, Paul Pierce's explanation for that.
Did he go to the bathroom?
He said he had an accident in his shorts and he didn't want to walk off. He said he was afraid the back of his shorts were stained.
Well, touche then, Paul.
Is that serious?
That's what he said.
I don't believe that for a second.
Okay. Thank you to Theragun, a proud sponsor of this segment based on that. I let someone else borrow my Theragun just momentarily. It's not like I link them to anybody who tries it loves this thing. The Theragun Mini is the one that we all have here, but it's the only physician-created percussive therapy device, releases your deepest muscle tensions and aches. Scientifically calibrated combo of depth, speed, and power. 250 teams using this. 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to therabody.com for your Theragun today, starting at just $199. All right, now, Brandon, the most patient man.
Brandon in Atlanta.
In all of Atlanta. You are now on the Patriots Postgame Show, presented by Cyber Reason. What's up, Brandon? As I press the on-air button, and he is still there. So there you go. Yes. Ha-ha, Fred.
Can you hear me?
Yes. I can. Loud and.
Yeah, so, since I called mostly to get through my the losses, let me start with my catchphrase. Man.
Yeah.
That's the tough one. Well, so, I mean, I've been looking at this game, and I realized, like, everything Mike and Paul said was true. The run, the main thing is our run defense is atrocious. And, I went and I looked it up. I'm like, we got lucky we didn't have to play Derrick Henry or Nick Chubb. But their backups, Deontay Foreman and Dearness Johnson, they got 109 and 99 on us, respectively. So it doesn't even matter who you are. I mean, look at, like Paul said, Duke Johnson is a journeyman now, and he just ran on us for, over 100-plus yards. So, I mean, I think I'm confident Bill can, get some upgrades there possibly, especially at linebacker. We getting killed on the, line of scrimmage. So, even with Barmore there and Guy there, so I don't know, what's going on there. But overall, like I said a few weeks ago after the Buffalo game, I think we just need a year to gel. I mean, Mac is a rookie and he made the playoffs. That's great. But I mean, yeah, most likely, no matter who we go to see, it's going to be a one and done. But, he'll take a step. Hopefully after a year together, the offense and the defense, all the new guys that was there, they'll gel better. And, hopefully that'll be the answer. But as of right now, yeah, it's like, it's like people, like he said, just running back, just dragging linebackers for the Patriots for like 4 extra yards after already, getting 4 yards. So now it's 3rd and 10, 2nd and 10, or 2nd and 2, and 3rd and 2, and it's like, yeah, anybody can get those conversions. So I got confidence, but for next year. Obviously I'm going to still root for my team in this wild card game, whether it be Cincinnati or Buffalo. But I'm managing my expectations.
All right, Brandon. Well, thank you for the call. I wouldn't say that they're automatically going to be one and done. If you clean up special teams and the penalties, manage to score first, and develop a run defense, I think you'll have a real shot against virtually any team.
6 days, we got it.
Is that too much?
You're right. Brandon, I thought these were the reinforcements. I expected the defense to be a little better, and to me, you're kind of stuck with this team a little bit to a certain extent. Like, you got old guys on the defensive side of the ball that you got to figure out how to replace, and then offensively, everybody's kind of coming back, and I'm not really sure. I think when you go back to that 2009 team and the famous, I can't get this team to play the way I want. And I can't help but my brain going that way, because clearly these last 3 games, you haven't had a football team show up and play like a team that, 4 weeks ago was the number 1 seed in the AFC. Since that point, they've played terrible football. And that is the truth that's come out about them, is they've played these good teams in hostile environments sometimes not, sometimes in your own stadium. But with it all on the line, they folded. And so where do you go from here, especially where you don't have the ability to, remake this team? I think they need a jolt of some new things this offseason. I'm not sure exactly how to approach it, but I think some things they need an injection, somewhat like, not to say Gronkowski was the answer, but that's what came in 2010. They remade the team a little bit with, I'm not saying that's the end, but you brought in some new pieces like, hey, we got to tack a little bit and go a little bit of a new direction. Defensively, maybe they can do it. I just don't know offensively where you really go. These are the guys, and I guess I'm like Brandon, hoping that they improve. But just when you look at the performance with it all on the line, it just doesn't look like a team that's fired up to go play for a championship. It looks like a team that just kind of doesn't really know who they are, other than the consistent mistakes that they seem to make every week now.
It's hard to argue. Could
they have gone to Hunter Henry earlier in this game? Did they try? Did Mac try going to him earlier and I just missed it? Because it seems like at the end, when they're trying to spark a little something, there's a bit of a rhythm there. And Jacoby Myers is the closest thing he has to your go-to chain mover. But I think that Hunter Henry option is something they need to explore a little earlier and a little more often, especially in a game when you're playing from a you're dealt a 7-0 hand to start the game, and I'm not saying it would have worked on the 3 plays that they ran before it was 14-0, but seems like something that they could go to. He's not Rob Gronkowski. Yeah, I'm not saying he's like the 2022 answer to what they did back in 2010, but see's like something.
Yeah, well,
something comfortable and relatively safe for Mac Jones to throw to.
And I don't necessarily disagree, but it's like, he's the leading receiver with 586. How much more can you ask of Hunter Henry? Like, at some point, it's got to be more than Jacoby Myers making diving 3rd down catches and Hunter Henry
making diving catches.
Like we got to start catch and run and some explosive plays, and just those elements are not part of the offense. And I will give them some credit. They fought like they always do. But I think one of the more troubling things is on Friday, Bill Belichick was asked to kind of evaluate where the team is, and he went right into, we've had some slow starts and blah blah. It's literally like he just talked about it 2 days ago of what the team's recurring problems are, and here they are doing it again. And it's just disheartening, because you would think that they would get these things squared away, at least not lose the turnover battle, at least not have stupid, untimely penalties, and they just keep happening again, and they can't seem to get them fixed.
Right. Let's try Chris in Texas here. Chris, Patriots Postgame Show presented by Cyber Reason. What's up, Chris?
Hey, guys, and thank you so much for taking my call. How are y'all?
Hey, Chris. All right.
Good. Yeah, obviously, somber somber feelings as well. Die-hard Pats fan down here, born in Lynn, but moved down to Texas many years ago. To start on a lighter note, yes, it is true. I chuckled earlier when you said that Paul Pierce did actually have an accident in his pants. That is true. You can look that up. 2008 finals. He sat in a wheelchair so no one would see it.
Paul doesn't believe it.
I still don't, to be honest with you.
Well, to get to what I was calling for, I've been listening for a long time. I've never called in, but I just wanted to vent for a little while.
Please.
We have obviously we've sat in some extremely great seasons for many, many years and have been a bit spoiled, and so now we're sitting with some reality, and we have to deal with it. And some of the things that I've observed that I hope I could see change are the aging linebackers and the aging, second tier, third tier of the defense is catching up to us. We've seen that happen. Today was really tough to watch. And on the offensive side of the ball, it looks like, Mac Jones has hit this rookie wall, I believe, maybe this plateau we've talked about.
Yeah.
If you told me at the beginning of the year, your rookie quarterback would give you 3,000 yards and over 20 touchdowns and take you to the playoffs, you'd be happy about that. But here we are watching what I believe is some type of plateau. I'm not seeing much progression in the right direction. And lastly, what I do want to touch on is I don't know, the offense and the defense have a lot of room to grow, but the one thing I think we can't stand for is the coaching and the special teams. That's the one thing we hang our hats on. And what happened at the end of the first half was the toughest thing I had to watch all season. That management, that clock management, that play selection, that 4th and inches trying to draw them offside, I have no clue what that was. And
Bill was very upset about that play. It was noticeable on the sideline, and I think he was just talking about it in his press conference. He said they were poorly executed plays. So I wonder if they were supposed to snap the ball at some point in that thing. Make it look like they're trying to fake.
I was going to say, because I've been rambling. I appreciate you guys letting me ramble here. But to conclude, you line it up, you get the first down, you keep the drive alive, you maybe get 3. They had several chances to get 3 or 7 at the end of the first half. And then that touchdown at the end of the game ties it or gives you the lead. And these are the types of things that we're used to seeing Patriot teams execute. So that's why it's a really tough pill to swallow right now. Not that we got a rookie quarterback or an aging linebacker core or wide receivers that can't separate, but that we're seeing mistakes consistently at the very end of the season that we don't normally see. So thanks for letting me vent, guys. Love the show.
No problem, Chris. Thanks for calling. We appreciate you. We're going to step aside for a moment here. We're going to come back, take more of your calls, get to your emails, 855-PATS-500, webradio@patriots.com. We have to and want to thank Cyber Reason. Great defenders don't just play on the field. They're also protecting your company and data. Cyber Reason is on a mission to end ransomware and keep your business undefeated against cyber attacks. Learn more at cyberreason.com/ransom.
Defending against cyber attacks requires seeing in the dark, understanding and ending every threat to your organization on computers, mobile, and the cloud. It takes Cyber Reason. End cyber attacks from endpoints to everywhere.
TouchView Interactive is here to support your hybrid learning, distance learning, and video conferencing needs with easy-to-use tools that allow end users to collaborate, interact, and present seamlessly. TouchView Interactive offers a comprehensive line of accessories and software to support your audio-visual needs. Outfit your classrooms and presentation spaces with the future of interactive display technology. Visit touchview.com for more info. Offered by the Oakers Company, celebrating 100 years of service and support.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
Brandon?
Oh, boy. Wow, Hardy.
You played that.
You've outdone yourself.
You played that.
The
That
first
was
call of the show.
That was Morrell playing that sound.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
I just told Morrell I missed a real opportunity with Brandon in Atlanta when he asked if I could hear him. I should have just said Lima Charlie, because that's Marine talk, loud and clear. Right?
LC, I gotcha.
He and I did. We talk.
Letters.
We talk about stuff. Me and Matt, we're kind of.
So you do like your hand signals?
No, I don't.
Just before or after he
Matt's like
beat
giving you
up.
this thing, like hold.
I do it as a way so he won't beat me up. I show a knowledge and an interest.
I see what you're doing.
And it's like many things in life. It's what I wish to be. My daughter often says to me, it's like, Daddy, you're not a cop. It's like, I'm pretty much a cop.
As far as your daughter's
Daddy, you weren't in
concerned,
the
you
Marines.
basically
I'm like, yeah, Daddy's pretty much a Marine. I know all the lingo. I mean, what else is there?
Hooah!
I know all the lingo.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk the talk. All right.
Hoo-ha is not the Marines, I'm sorry.
What did I say?
Hoorah.
Hoorah.
Don't listen to them.
Don't listen to me. I'm not pretending. I'm
I
not
refuse to
looking
let the
for
Marines be confused with the Army. I'm
not
gonna let it
looking
happen
for
on my
stolen
watch.
valor. So don't. I'm just fine with that.
Easy. We're not going that far.
I did not serve for a lot of different reasons, not the least of which is I'm not strong enough and I don't have enough balls to do it.
I never asked, and if I did, they would have said no. We're looking for
thanks.
We're looking for a few good men.
No thanks.
Yes.
Hey, Pops, go over there.
Right. Nathan in Missouri on the Patriots postgame show. Pats lose today, 33-24 in Miami. Nathan, what do you got?
Yeah, well, this is obviously a tough game for everybody involved. I don't want to be the guy who, of course, the first caller before me, two callers before me, of course, mentioned the play that I was planning on mentioning. But I just had a quick question. If you look at the Kendrick Bourne's long reception to even set up that 4th and inches that they had to review, and they moved it 6 inches, they said, even though it didn't look like they moved it hardly at all. It looked like Belichick was very, very focused on the fact that they were going to review that play and possibly move it further. So do you guys think it was a plan the whole time to try to get him to jump off sides? I mean, I feel like it even gives you more of a reason to go for it. And we've seen Mac do sneaks. I mean, he did one later in this game to get a first down towards the end. So it looked like he was actually going to do that after you guys said it never works the first time. Looked like he was trying to get him to jump off sides a couple times. Then when he put, I think, his left foot like way in the back, it looked like he was trying to gain momentum to possibly do that. I thought that was the plan. I was like, that's a good play call, but it just never came about. Would you guys think that was the call the whole time, or it just kind of evolved? But thanks, guys. It's a great show.
Yeah, I wish I had a definitive answer. I do wonder, Bill was so upset about the execution of that play that I wonder if he was looking for more, because I don't know why you would be so upset if you tried 3 times with hard counts to get him to jump offside. They didn't jump. They were going to take I mean, it looked to me if they didn't plan on snapping it, they were going to just take a delay of game penalty, right?
Right.
So why would you be so upset that you ended up having a false start? I think they might have intended on going for that.
Weird. I mean, regardless, it was like everything else. It
Mac
wasn't
didn't
well
execute
executed.
it well.
Everybody wasn't on the same page.
Yeah, I thought Mac could have gotten called for a penalty a couple of times before.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what their intentions were, and they'll
Even
never
Harris
and they'll never tell us. My point is, just go for it. It's 4th and inches. Just go for it.
Yeah.
Just be done with it.
No, and it was like a lot of things, and I mean, it's almost like on the defensive side of just being wrapped up in their own head, and that's why we talk about the RPOs. I'm sure they talked about it all week, but they still came in seeming like they were just wrapped up in their own heads and weren't quite how to defend anything. And it's like Mr. Miyagi in the middle of the road, squished like grape. Neither here nor there. I felt like they were doing that the whole game to him.
Before we get too much further away from it, I want to thank Mr. McLeod. I believe it is James McLeod who sent in another graphic. You probably saw it up at the beginning of the show for the bad list. It's up again right now. Is this tonight's bad list, Hardy? And the other guy says part of it, and it's a wall with a ladder climbing up and just a ream of paper falling down the wall. James McLeod on Facebook, McLeod Cartoons. Great stuff. Thank you, James. That's good.
It's a weird game. Like, it's another one of those games.
He's good.
Like, you look at the numbers and you're like, how'd we lose this game? But I just think there was a lot of plastic stuff again.
Yep.
You know, like you're down 27-10 in the fourth quarter. Like, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
You're not going to win playing that way.
How about Deshaun in Virginia now on the Patriots Postgame Show presented by Cyber Reason. Hi, Deshaun.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks for calling. What do you got for us?
Basically, not really too much because I know the first caller from Atlanta basically said a lot of things you already say. But some of the things I can say, which is very demoralizing, is quarterbacks being able to take off running in key situations.
Yeah, the third and 8.
I mean, like we could talk about the RPO action stuff like that, but I mean, I don't care what kind of scheme that we have. If you don't necessarily have the players, to attack stuff like that, to go from sideline to sideline. I really don't care what they do from scheme wise. It's never going to work. I think there's a major limitation. On both sides of the ball, especially defensively.
Yeah, I mean, I think regardless of Tua's future in Miami with Josh Allen, I mean, I think they need to do some soul searching defensively of how they're going to get the AFC East back because, yeah, you finished second, you made the playoffs, you got swept by the Dolphins. I don't know the last time they got swept by the Dolphins, but, there's that. You lost it to the Bills. You needed the weather game up there to beat them. So, I mean, it's just – for me, it always starts with the division, and I just look at those two guys, and it doesn't look like you have the defense right now to contend with those offenses or to slow them down, really.
Yeah, and
exactly, because the Bills is what I worry about too, as far as with Josh Allen being able to run.
Yeah, all the time. I mean, more than anybody.
And just like that could happen against the Bills too. Like they're not any worse running the ball than Miami is, right? So they could do something like that and take a little of the pressure off Josh Allen as he's sort of looks like he's been struggling to find his groove the last few weeks. So yeah, I mean I think if it's Buffalo it'll be tough, and I think if it's Cincinnati it'll be tough. I think Joe Mixon's very good. So either way you don't have a picnic coming.
It's almost like you almost just hope it. I mean the Bengals are so balanced. I don't know what the Patriots will do to be able to slow all that down, but. At least the Bills have some element that maybe you think, maybe we can make Josh Allen run it and beat him up a little bit. But I don't know. Right now, it just seems like asking a lot to ask this Patriots team to turn it around and put together a kind of performance you're going to need to knock either of those teams out. Maybe they will. I'm sure they'll come out and play hard. But 3 out of the last 4 weeks, you've had big games, and you've come out and just laid turds on the field. Well, that's what I'm going to expect.
Real easy.
Yeah.
Real easy.
Yep. All right, Deshaun, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. Let's go to Spee in Fresno. Spee, what's up? You're on the Patriots Postgame Show. What's going on?
We suck.
Oh.
Terrible.
We suck again.
God. I know. I mean, the run defense has been sucking for a while, so I don't know about again there. But, a fun fact with the Xavier Howard pick-six thing, when he went into the end zone, he kind of spiraled around the air.
Yep.
He did the crotch grab.
He did.
And
I said it live.
That was like the – did you? Oh.
That should have been a penalty.
Thing.
Right, if they want to call that nonsense, that's a penalty.
Yeah, on the pick six to make it 14-0.
I mean, it doesn't take the touchdown away, but that's a penalty.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Marshawn Lynch crotch grab.
Yep. Yeah, okay. It was the Marshawn Lynch.
Actually, Logan Ryan did it once too.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I don't know, Speed. What do you? Let's do a little look ahead here. Who do you want them to play? You want Bengals or you want the Bills?
That's crazy because I was about to ask Krusty to give me the answer to that same question.
I don't know. What do you think, kids?
I don't know. I like Skyline Chili. Go Bengals!
I'm with the Bengals, partly just to see something new, and partly, I mean, I like Joe Burrow, but I mean, I also really like Paul's analysis of the potential coaching flubs that could go our way.
That's what you need.
A relatively young quarterback, sort of. I don't know. But I'd probably go with the Bengals. I think we're going to lose either way, but who knows?
Okay. All right, Speed. Well, we'll talk to you in the pregame next week.
I mean, that is.
All right. See ya.
That is kind of really at this point, which team is more likely to crap themselves? I mean, that's what you kind of need.
Okay, so here's the succinct way. If the Chargers win tonight, Patriots play at Cincinnati next week. If the Raiders win tonight, Patriots play at Buffalo. If it ends in a tie, Patriots play at Cincinnati, and Steelers are eliminated.
It's going right now.
Okay. So there it is.
We're
Raiders
underway.
quickly out to midfield on the opening drive.
With Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, that didn't go well.
Oh, and
setting up a 3rd and 10.
All right, so we'll keep an eye on that. We'll continue with the phone calls here. We'll go to Daryl in Virginia on the Patriots Postgame Show, presented by Cyber Reason. Hi, Daryl.
Hey, how's it going, fellas?
Good. Thanks for calling in. What do you got?
Oddly, I'm still a little happy. Looking at
that is odd.
The beginning of the season, I didn't expect a lot. 10-7, playoff bound. I'm still pretty happy. I'm missing James White a bit, but
let me tell you something, Daryl. And I'm happy too because I wanted above 500.
Yeah.
And I think that 10th win was a tiny bit of icing. I think playoffs are great. I would just feel so much better if they had won 3 of their last 4 to be in this position, as opposed to losing 3 of their last 4. And I don't want to get nitpicky, but
right.
This in some ways does look like a slightly different team than the team that was in the midst of a 7-game win streak. That's
absolutely.
So
I think Paul brought it up as far as the schedule, though. It's all how the schedule pans out. I think. Well, first time, I'm sorry. So I kind of skipped over this. First time calling in, long time listener. Love
Appreciate
you guys. Really appreciate everything you guys do. Pause my guy, Deuce. What's going on, man?
Hey.
That's true. That's true. We went on that 7-game win streak. It was looking good. We were looking like our old selves. But I think deep down inside, we all still knew. Still have some holes. We're still kind of rebuilding. But there's some positives. There's some growing points. I think Mac definitely probably hit the wall. But I'm not overly excited about, some of the guys we got catching the ball in separation either. So
right. Well, I'll tell you this, Daryl, and don't be a stranger. Please call back in next week, pregame, and postgame, and hopefully beyond that. But for this season and the way good teams have lost games that they should not have, who's to say that can't happen in the wild card game that the Patriots will be playing next week?
Sure.
And, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be enough, to kind of rebuild confidence and give them momentum, but you live to fight another week and make it to the divisional round, and that's when you start saying, well, now really anything can happen. It's unfortunate that you have to look I have to look upon it, just being honest with myself, as you're going to need a team to be a little bit off when you visit them next week.
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to.
I'd agree with you, and I think you need the Patriots to play a level of football that we really haven't seen out of them since maybe the Cleveland game. And
right.
And even then it was more just about their execution and not so much that they were playing the Cleveland All-Stars. But yeah, it's disappointing. And I mean I hear that being glad to be in the playoffs and everything, but it's just the way that the season has gone since before the bye week. You went into the bye week, you felt like, man, it's really going well. The Patriots are back. I don't know if we ever believed they were back, but they were playing well. They weren't beating themselves. They were getting takeaways. They cleaned up the penalties. They weren't, they were able to get some stops, like, the Chargers game, and just all that stuff dried up. And it's disappointing, and it's hard to talk myself into, oh, well, next week, all of a sudden, they're just going to be that team again. Like this is the team who they've been the majority of the time, when they played good teams. So it's hard to expect something different.
Garrett is in New Jersey, and now he's on the Patriots postgame show. Hi, Garrett.
Hi, guys. I called in a few weeks ago saying that the Patriots were going to I was looking at the schedule. I was penciling off wins. I'm not doing that anymore because this is the postseason and it's a different season. But I'm happy. I'm optimistic. I'm disappointed, but I'm optimistic because from where we were last year, we finished under 500. We have 10 wins and win the playoffs. Only have a rookie quarterback. What worries me a little bit is our secondary situation going into next year. And I know you guys talked about this a few weeks ago.
Yep.
But I would all be for franchising J.C. Jackson because I really don't see another good cornerback out there that we could get and help our secondary or our safeties. You know, that's an affordable price. He knows the system. You know, and he's not, I'm not saying an elite cornerback, but he's good enough to warrant the system, I would think.
Garrett, I'm with you. I wanted to, I've been on the, franchise him train for a while now, so I think that would be a good option for the team. Not the greatest option for JC, but you got to do what you got to do, and he would make a ton of money. What's franchise number? 17?
About 17, probably
for a corner. Yeah. So,
but I mean, I think it's a question too of, how many players do you need? Like, do you think, is that like, wow, if we just, look, I go back to Asante in 07, where you felt like you had a guy in house and you had a lot of pieces in place. You had a veteran defense that you knew was near the end, but you could probably squeeze another year out of them. And they franchised him, and then they let him walk. So I don't know. There's just a lot of work to be done, and it's like I see the value in retaining J.C. Jackson, but I also just wonder at what price. At what price you're going to pay J.C. Jackson? He's the one guy you got in your secondary, and then you've got somebody replacing Devin McCourty, somebody replacing Dante Hightower, somebody replacing Jawan Bentley. Not to say I want those guys back. I just think you need a lot, and I don't know if the wisest way to go about getting a lot is to allocate a huge chunk of a guy who's going to be here 1 year and then he's gone. So, why are you paying that money for 1 year? Because he's going to – I think you need more. I don't know. This will be a great point of debate a week from now when the season's over and we dive into
all right.
Sorry.
See, that's
or 2 weeks.
You see
or
what
3
I mean?
weeks.
You see what I mean? These are the little sneaky,
just little glimpses.
The sneaky negative comes out. No,
not all that sneaky.
I found another thing interesting today on the whole, outlook of the 2022 defense and whatnot. Mike Reese in his notes, little item about Devin McCourty. Did you catch that?
I don't think I did.
Just sort of, glossed over it. Like, it doesn't appear as if retirement is in the fold. He'll either return or, he's a free agent.
Yep.
So, you have to re-sign him if he's going to stay. I've kind of been under the impression he either retires or he'll re-sign with the Patriots. But Mike Reese sort of threw out there that there's no signs that he doesn't intend to play, so he'll either be elsewhere next year or, decide to return to New England. So the way he wrote it, it's not a done deal that he'll be back. I kind of thought it was. If he played, I thought he would be back.
I would think so too. If he signs somewhere else, does that do something to the void money that they have? Are they still?
No, that'll be dead money.
That's
no matter
still got to
what.
be dead money no matter what. Okay, great.
We have an email here from Tom in England who says, what a mess of a game. At least we can be confident we won't carry on getting all these special teams missteps next year because Joe Judge will be back to fix things.
I tell you, I think that the performance this year of the special teams has been unacceptable, and I think that there will be ramifications for it in the offseason.
Is it maybe the craziest thing in the world? He can't come back.
There was a year, maybe, was it 9, 10, 11? When was the Dean Pease year? When all of a sudden Dean Pease was gone. His contract wasn't renewed. Somewhere
12,
around the
11,
in the bridge years between the two versions of the dynasty, Dean Pease went, and it was sort of unceremonious, So, yeah, I wouldn't be stunned if we're reading about a change in the coaching staff in that regard. Maybe Joe Judge comes back. Joe Judge might be available tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what Tom said.
Yeah,
that's.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, he's got to. I hate calling for people to be fired, but what the performance of the special teams this year is certainly worthy of making a change.
All right, let's go to CJ in Kansas City up next on the Patriots postgame. Patriots fall to the Dolphins in Miami tonight, 33-24. Go ahead. What do you got for us, CJ?
Hey guys, I wanted to just talk a little bit about how I think from over the last month, the last 4 games, throw the Jacksonville game out, the three losses that we've had, I feel like I've been the most frustrated with the defense more so than the offense, and I recognize the struggles on both sides of the ball and everything like that, but I feel like during that 7-game win streak, I noticed more of a difference on the not dropping interceptions that are thrown to us between the numbers, and not if a fumble happens, we just happen to recover it type of thing.
Well, I'll give you
And
another example.
Going into the
real quick, just to
ahead.
jump in on that. There was a big field goal made in this game to restore it to a 3-score game. It was like a 49-yard field goal or something like that. That gets missed. That got missed all year.
Right.
Opposing no opponent missed more field goals than against the Patriots all year. Today the guy drilled it because you should make field goals that are inside 50 yards, and he did. That was a big 3 points.
And with my thought process with that is that gives me, to go on the opposite side of Deuces saying that we're already out of it next week and let's move on to the off season. I feel like that gives me a little hope that, hey, okay, we get those bounces, or we catch the ball when it gets thrown right at us on defense. We get it in short yardage situation, and Mac Jones doesn't have to go 75 yards on every drive to try to put points up on the board because that's not.
Yeah, well, that didn't happen today though. Patriots took over around midfield twice. I mean, they had their opportunities today. They couldn't move.
But in the other losses, like that wasn't the case. I mean, the Bills game, that wasn't the case. We didn't take over anywhere near.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are what they are, and I think Mike hit the nail on the head. If they win the turnover battle and they get all the breaks, they have a chance to compete. I think that's what we've seen. If they don't get those breaks, they're going to have a hard time.
Yeah, and I guess and you're right. But I guess what I'm trying to say is I just don't think I know that a lot of it is from the viewpoint of the offense just can't keep up, and I really think that the defense just isn't pulling their weight.
It's both. It's both.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, the defense comes out and allows an 80-yard drive to open the game, and you're immediately on your heels, and then you respond with a pick six, and it's 14-0. I mean, there's equal blame to go around.
Right, and it's easy to say now, but that's kind of the ball game with this team right
it's like
now.
11 plays into the game.
Yeah, the way they're playing and the way the offense is constructed, and everything. Just take it all under the. Yeah, you are playing down 14-0. You now have a let's call it a 52-minute game, and you're spotting your opponent 14 points on the road in a place where you have trouble playing.
And again,
that's your game.
When you do that, you almost have to be perfect from the rest of the game on.
Right.
And I'm sorry, they're not good enough to play perfect football the last 20 minutes of a game or something like that. Real quick, just because this is related to the Christian Barmore thing. Yep. You see this quote from Zach Cox? And Mike Reese, he's quoting Mike Reese off of Patriots' fifth quarter. I'll just read the quote. I wouldn't expect him in the playoffs, and this is the type of thing that looks like it'll affect his offseason. He was very emotional. And I just say that only because Mike Reese is not in the business of sensationalizing trivial things. My guess is that not only he's judging off of an appearance, but maybe he talked to somebody.
All right. A long email here from John in Washington. I'm going to paraphrase it, just bullet points here. He says, that was an awful game, but some thoughts. This should be looked at as the first year in a 3-year rebuild. That's number one. Number two,
Okay, I disagree with that one.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Need to be able to stop the run much better than we have.
Yes, I would agree with that one.
Number three, need our receivers to get open quicker.
Yeah, I would agree they need more
explosiveness.
Perfect word.
Yeah. Number four, Josh McDaniels seems to have lost creativity when it comes to play calling.
Strongly disagree with that.
And is it just me, or does it seem like the O-line is getting pushed around?
I didn't see that today.
All right. So
the D-line is getting pushed around.
Yeah,
I saw that today.
John, great email, a lot of good stuff here, but we got a lot of them to get to here, and I wanted to get as many of your points in there as we could. Before we go back to the phones here, we'll talk to Neil in New Jersey. Hello, Neil.
Hi, how are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. A little late for that, but thank you.
Year.
Cool. Well, I want to give you. I gave you guys a call. It's not like I called before, right? I think it'll be the proper thing to do. At least say Happy New Year to you guys.
I appreciate that. Well, what do you got on the game?
I don't know. It's a whole debacle. There's a lot of things I would like to say over the radio, but you can't say it.
Amen.
The defense, I could say at least, they gave up only 20 points, right? Because of pick sixes, that's not the
defense was
that's
terrible.
offense. right? Yeah, in a sense of run game, yeah, they're horrible run game. But
No, it was horrible in general.
20
period.
points.
It was terrible. Today, I mean, the defense was terrible today. The offense put them in a hole. The defense put them in a hole, and the special teams helped the other team continue their drives. It was this is one of those Bill Belichick games where he's right. And we didn't do anything well enough to win. They didn't. The defense was terrible, right down to the last drive of the game.
And the offense was just, it was all over the place. With turnovers, I mean, isn't that the whole story of this whole season? Turnovers, pick sixes, fumbles at the worst possible moment. And
no, it's not the story of the whole season.
I think it's a lack of execution. When they lose, it's a lack of execution.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think it's because of turnovers they've lost all their games.
Honestly, I hope we get the Bengals. I think it's easier than the Bills because I don't know if we'll prepare for the Bills in the playoffs. But the Bills would be a nice revenge game if we can even beat them. The Bengals are just a better bet at this point overall. It's like I can still say Mac did pretty good. I mean, as a rookie, throw a 22 touchdowns, 13 picks. I still got to give it to the kid. They do better, but this offense needs to improve drastically or else we're just done. Do you think we'll draft like a cornerback? I mean, with JC, we got to tag him, dude, or else we're done. We're done if we don't tag him.
All right. Thanks, Neil. If you want the Bengals, you got to root for
corners up. Corners up there.
Yeah, root for the Chargers. Corner, linebacker. I mean, do you feel great about anybody on the defensive line right now?
I don't feel great about really very much. I got to be honest. I might be being a little emotional after a loss, but I think the quarterback is worth developing. I think they have a really good young running back in Stevenson. I think Harris will be back, but it'll also be the last year of his rookie contract. I like the receivers all as complementary parts. They need a big dog. I like Hunter Henry. I think they're going to have some turnover in the offensive line. I think they're going to have a lot of turnover on defense. That's why when the email that you read a little while ago, Hardy, about the first year of a 3-year rebuild.
Yeah.
I think this was a reload. They was like, I think that they, I think they're going to get, like, physically, there's a chance that they're not as good on paper next year, in terms of talent.
I would say definitely on the defensive side of the ball, and I think, what's just kind of still popping in my head is just bringing back to 19 and 20, and I know Bedard had tweeted out their records, last 4 games, last 3 seasons, not good. And I don't want this to come off as me, saying bad stuff about Hightower and Van Noy and Collins, but, I think 19 was all right, the time's kind of passed with this group. That
was kind of the last hurrah for this defense, and we're
2 years later, we're still trying to do it. So I just something needs to change there. I love those guys. They delivered a lot in the mid 2000s, but 2010s, but it's not there anymore. They've got to figure out how to find new players like that. And I think schematically they have to figure out what are they going to do going into the season and how are they going to approach these teams that, whoever wants to run all over you runs all over you, and whoever's got a mobile quarterback or some kind of RPO tricks in the bag that they're like, whoa, what do we do now? Like, if your old, experienced, smart, tough linebackers can't figure it out, then I'd rather just go in. I'd rather last year have been spent going in with young, stupid, fast linebackers who are going to make mistakes, but maybe now when people want to say, oh, we're in year 1 of a 3-year year. No, we're not, because this defense is going to look nothing like this year's next year. So it's a different team. I just the connections between all these years, I just don't think it's apt at all. This is a year-to-year kind of thing, and you've got an old defense with a lot of old pieces that are either leaving or the game is passing them by, and it's got to turn over, and you've got to do that before it's maybe time to pay Mac down the road.
Quickly, James Pettigrew emails in, wants to know, when does uncharacteristic become characteristic?
Right, exactly.
That's what I said.
What it
that
is.
was my point.
That's what I said. When they tell you who they are, this is who they are. And you can continue to say, well, the Patriots, they always finish strong and they always get it all figured out and they find their identity. And it's not true. This is a team that beats itself, that makes mistakes.
I had to listen to Jay Feely about 5 times tell me in the second half today, they'll get this. They'll go back, they'll game plan, and get ready to win a playoff game.
Who are you talking about?
Which is what they do better than anybody. I'm like, Tom Brady's he's just not here. Jay Feely, of all people, should know that. He's like Brady's best friend, one of his best friends.
Yeah.
He doesn't play for the Patriots anymore. Why do you think with certainty that the Patriots will be ready to go next week? Like, because right now it's kind of a coin flip whether or not they're ready to play against a team that's any good.
All right, well,
right?
I mean, it's like a three-sided coin, and two of them are no, and one of them is
like
yes.
if you want to, like, okay, so like technically New Orleans didn't make the playoffs and Miami didn't make the playoffs, but both of those teams had winning records. So what are you, like 3-7 against that caliber of team? Right? I mean,
yeah.
Sometimes there's things that are happening and there's like smacking you right in the face and you just don't want to admit it, and that's one of them.
We'll step aside for a moment here. Thank you to Bridgestone, the official tire of the New England Patriots. Proudly sold at Sullivan Tire. Visit sullivantire.com for locations and offers.
It all starts. It all starts now.
TouchView Interactive is here to support your hybrid learning, distance learning, and video conferencing needs with easy-to-use tools that allow end users to collaborate, interact, and present seamlessly. TouchView Interactive offers a comprehensive line of accessories and software to support your audio-visual needs. Outfit your classrooms and presentation spaces with the future of interactive display technology. Visit touchview.com for more info. Offered by the Oakers Company, celebrating 100 years of service and support.
That looks awful. Football's back and it's time to go big. Pepsi pulled pork sandwiches are game day greatness. Now we're ready for game day. Check out some more awesome recipes on madeforpatriotswatching.com.
Defending against cyber attacks requires seeing in the dark, understanding and ending every threat to your organization on computers, mobile, and the cloud. It takes cyber reason. End cyber attacks from endpoints to everywhere.
An active lifestyle means you never stop moving. That's why only Theragun devices are designed to release your body's deepest muscle tension, so you can do the things you love. You only have one body. Make it a TheraBody.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
I get so uncomfortable when he yells at you, Fred. And I apologize for his behavior.
Because live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
It's super embarrassing, honestly, just from my point, just how I played wasn't good enough, and I can be better, and it starts with me. I'm the quarterback, and that's my job, is to make people around me have success, and it starts with me. So we'll get it fixed. I think, like you said, you got to watch the film and learn from it and realize how embarrassing it is to play that way. But at the same time, we got a great opportunity next week, and that's all you can ask for.
It's Patriots quarterback Mac Jones, who was 20 of 30 on the day for 261 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, and we thank Microsoft. Our partner, Microsoft Windows 11, the official operating system of the NFL and the New England Patriots. The all-new Windows 11 is here to bring you closer to what you love, like the Patriots Postgame show. Learn about all the awesome new features of Windows 11 at windows.com. Paul, is that exasperated sigh and Hardy-like phone throw anything to do with the show, or is that personal? No. All right, let's move on then. Go back to the phones, 855-PATS-500, emails to webradio@patriots.com. You can be upset. If you audibly sigh, then I'm going to respond.
My apologize.
All right. Jeff in California, mostly because I'm concerned. Go ahead, Jeff. What's going on?
Really bad today.
Yeah. It's not easy to do. It hurts the throat if you do it correctly.
It does.
Also
You
makes
can't
me a
really
little
do it.
lightheaded.
Get the sideshow.
You can't
Bob.
really do it for an extended period of time. So.
No.
Yeah, guys. I mean, yeah, I'd like to lie and say that I hate when I'm right, but in this instance, it's kind of bittersweet. Like, what does Bill Belichick always tell everybody? Every year, he dismissively will tell people, you are what you are, what your record is after Thanksgiving, right? That's when real football starts. Well, this is when real football started. They lost 3 out of 4 down the stretch. And it's just, I think, Paul, you exemplified it earlier. It's like you can watch this team and you can objectively say this isn't a championship team. Tom Brady is not here to carry them. And like, if we're going to objectively evaluate this team and where they're at, you have to look at it and say they don't perform well against good teams. To be a championship caliber team or even have a puncher's chance in the playoffs, you have to perform at that level. And aside from basically running it up on the Jags and running it up on the Jets and beating up on undermanned teams, this team has performed like a 500 team, like just a middling, middle-of-the-road team that can't overcome falling down, falling behind in games, and that's not what championship teams do. Like, you don't have...
Oh, no, Jeff, I'm going to cut you off just because we get a lot of calls and emails to get to. Thank you for the call. No one is confusing the Patriots right now with the championship team. The difference is how much satisfaction you want to glean from saying, I said that when they were the number 1 seed in the AFC. It's like, all right, well, a lot of people thought that, but it doesn't do any good now.
I'm still in the very content with a good, solid season camp.
Seriously.
Like, I just look, you have a rookie quarterback, and I thought that they would be around where they are. I hoped that 9 or 10 wins would be enough to get in the playoffs.
I said 9.
I mean, I didn't say they were a playoff team because I didn't know what everybody else was going to do, but I hoped 9 or 10 wins, playoff contention. That's where we are.
That's what, and I said from the beginning of the season, 9 wins was enough for me to think they've made strides with a rookie quarterback, and even with the additions, nope. 9 wins. They're at 10 and they're in the playoffs. Yeah. I'm not going to move the goalpost now.
Is it disappointing to lose 3 out of the last 4? Yeah.
Yep.
Damn right it is.
Yep.
Well, they had a chance to play for more, and they blew it.
That's what's funny is because when you thought, and I was the same way before the season, and I think in my mind, it fits that perfect narrative of like, well, they'll have a rookie quarterback, they got a new team, it'll be a little choppy early, but they'll put it together in the end, and then be starting to put it together, and it just doesn't unfold the way that you want that perfect little narrative to unfold.
Right.
It's a team that peaked kind of in the middle of the season, and then all of a sudden the doors are falling off at the end, and it's something that, I mean, I think it's foreign to a lot of Patriots fans like myself who, 20 years, you never really were in this position. You never really were limping into the playoffs and feeling like,
right,
oof, like, can we just maybe get a team that has an off night and maybe we have a chance to play,
That's
and
I
don't want to
feeling.
and I don't want to overstate that, that they're that bad. I think they'll have a chance in any team they play against, but still, as all the calls been saying, it's a narrow road to victory.
Chad in Atlanta said for weeks I didn't want to believe Deuce's assessment of this team, that they were a product of, playing the depleted teams, and that's how they were getting the wins, and no offense outside the run game. But he says, I hope Mac pans out, because this team will be in a lot more trouble for a long time if he doesn't. I mean, the fact is, I think he's onto something. You really you do need to hope at this point that Mac continues to get better, and that he does end up being your quarterback. Because if you have to start over at quarterback, or if you have to acquire one, now that quarterbacks do actually leave, this is I think if it hasn't officially become a thing yet, it can and it will. You see good quarterbacks moving teams well into their careers. You don't necessarily want to go that route either, because they're few and far between, and you'd be much better off if you can continue to develop Mac Jones.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's definitely a good thing to come out of the season. And I think, just for me, the hard part is looking at them getting pantsed by 2 division opponents at the end of the season when they needed both games. And these are, 2 teams that you're kind of looking up at. And I know we're going to the playoffs, the Dolphins aren't, but still, Tua's beaten you 3 straight times. So something's got to change. You're going to win the division. You got to figure out a way to beat the Dolphins or beat the Bills. And it's fine that you have Mac Jones, but you're going to need a lot more to figure those guys out, especially those offenses and with what you got on defense.
Paul?
It's hard to argue with Mike when he gets on these rants.
That was a rant?
Paul just sitting back.
Steve in New York on the Patriots Postgame Show. Hi, Steve.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Good.
So after if the season is over, looking at this team and assessing it, I really feel that this team just isn't ready yet. There's some pieces. Obviously, it would be nice to have a wide receiver to add a little bit more speed, like a Julian Edelman kind of thing. But my biggest disappointment, honestly, has been the coaching. I just feel like it just hasn't been good. I mean, special teams has been abysmal. I think looking at this game, once they fell so far behind, at what point do you look and say, you know what, we're going to open things up a little bit more? Why starting off again with just conservative play calling? And there's no in-game adjustments. How many times did they run the RPO and it was just like, how many times did they got to see that before they react to it? I've never seen that in a Bill Belichick team where a team runs the same plays. Other than the Wildcat, I think the Jets was the only time I've seen, like, wait a minute, why haven't they done anything? Just frustrating.
Yeah. I'm with you. I mean, it's just, for me, and I just look at like the eyeball test of how they came out in these games. It's just it doesn't look like they're ready to play. It doesn't look like they really want to play. It didn't really look like they knew what was on the line when they played against the Colts or the Bills the last couple weeks. And
okay, so
I agree with you.
I just get annoyed with the conservative. Okay, so on 3rd and 1 on the first drive, they throw the ball. On 3rd and 1, is that conservative? He threw a pick 6. Like, that's Josh McDaniels' fault for being conservative by having him throw on 3rd and 1. Like, I think we have so many knee-jerk responses when they lose. It's Josh McDaniels' lack of creativity. They won't they won't let him throw the ball. Like, you have a rookie quarterback. I understand. There's reason to be optimistic when your rookie quarterback throws for 3,800 yards and 22 touchdowns. Okay, it's a fairly successful year for a rookie quarterback. Do you think this would have been better or worse if they just said, you know what, we're going to have him throw it 45 times every game?
Might be much worse.
I think it would. I think it would be worse. I think you'd run the risk of putting him in Zach Wilson type situations where he throws 4 picks in a game, and Zach looks like he's.
I mean, there were a couple of chances today for the
the
Dolphins to have multiple picks.
Yep. I don't think the creativity on the offense was an issue today. I think it was execution.
Yeah.
Execution.
I think that's what's probably hard to swallow is it feels big picture stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like, well, just do this little thing.
And
it's
by the way,
big picture stuff.
Trying to get the Dolphins to jump on 4th and inches, that might qualify as creative, and that was boneheaded. Don't do that.
What about now? You jump now. No, now.
I got my gun.
No,
I mean,
nothing? Are you sure?
It's
very troubling.
All right.
I don't even know how to defend it anymore. It's like clockwork. If they lose, Josh McDaniels is public enemy number 1. It's never on the players.
Yeah. Kevin in South Carolina. Hello, Kevin.
Hey, boys. Thanks for having me back.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, can I give you all a big old sigh? Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let it out.
Oh, man.
Pretty good.
All right. Deuce.
Yeah.
You're right. All right. Next year, we got Devin McCourty 1 year older. We got Dante Hightower getting closer to being a corpse. He's barely relevant. Van Noy is what Van Noy is. Collins is what Collins is going to be. Deuce is right. Paul, tell me why I should be more excited for the opener next season. What's going to go right next year to get us past 10 wins?
Can I wait and see who's on the team next year?
Well, where's the money coming from?
Oh, Kevin. The cap is crap, Kevin. Come on.
Wait a minute. The poor NFL is cash strapped now. They won't have any money to spend next year. Oof.
Now, if you do spend $18 million to franchise J.C. Jackson, I will admit to Deuce's point that makes it tougher, and I don't want to lose J.C. Jackson, but they can figure it out. They can get the players. They can pay the players.
How much? $200 million this offseason?
Yeah.
How much did they spend? Whatever they spent. Okay.
Lots.
So I get it. Robert Kraft is probably not going to spend $200 more million next year. Forget the cap. They're not going to spend that money.
Okay,
on players next year. But don't tell me you can't improve. Like, here's another one, okay? The linebackers just look old. Well, you know what? The old linebacker didn't play today.
Right.
How'd your linebackers look with Josh Uche out there chasing guys around? Because I saw him chasing Tua on 2 of those scrambles that he got first downs on.
Do you guys have any Chase Winovich?
I did not have a Chase Winovich sighting today.
Talking points for me for Milk Monday tomorrow on the Sports Hub?
I'm not sure he played defense.
Did you play?
Was he on defense today? I don't.
He
remember.
played a couple snaps. He was out there
How'd
on
he
a couple
look?
third downs.
Give me a play that he made that I can ask him about.
His hair was blowing in the wind.
He got crapped on by a bird I saw on Twitter before the game. He wanted to know if that was good luck or bad luck.
Apparently bad luck.
If the Patriots
like
lose,
Paul Pierce bird.
If they lose J.C. Jackson, Devin McCourty, Dante Hightower, Jamie Collins, whoever else you want to throw into the mix as guys that are up next year, and they don't replace any of them, I don't think they'll be as good next year. But before I make a declaration, like why should I be excited about next year, beyond that Mac should be a better player in year 2, I want what if they draft Darryl Stingley. And they're able to plug him in at a corner and he hits. And maybe in the second round they get, some version of Terry McLaurin who, really hits as a second-round receiver. Can they not be better?
Yeah. And
like I don't know who's on the team next year.
Right. And that especially what the defense looks like. But, I think that there's some element of – I know I'll be excited to see Mac show up, in the spring and get to see what he looks like developmentally. I think that's a big offseason for him. And like you said, I think having the same guys return, Ramondre year 2, we got the same core, but you add a little bit of speed. You add like a Waddle type or a McLaurin type into that mix. Then you've got a little bit more to build with on offense.
Or dare I say a Jamar Chase type.
Oh.
Yeah. Dave in North Carolina. What's going on, Dave?
Yo, no size this time.
No.
So I wanted to talk about the linebackers. I think Bill has been trying to get younger at the position. Not sure it's working out.
Yeah.
So where's Anthony Jennings? Is he like on
IR? Yeah, his season-ending IR.
Oh.
Yeah, they've drafted a bunch, but I don't just give the coach a free pass when you draft a bunch of guys and none of them make any impact. Like Uche, Perkins,
Winovich.
Jennings, Winovich. Yeah, all attempts to draft young linebackers. I would throw Bentley in that mix, and Bentley's the only one who really plays.
Yeah.
You got a point, but I think Uche's probably still got some development more upside than maybe the others. But
who is that?
He looked really good in preseason.
I haven't seen him do a thing in regular games.
Yeah, it's been a lot of waiting for him to kind of splash again.
Mike is
Dave.
really on that one.
Just kind of a lost year for him.
Yeah. Carolina's representing well in the pre and post, going back to South Carolina now. Talk to Sean. Hello, Sean.
Around the Carolinas.
They don't like that.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
South Carolina doesn't mind it. Good, Sean. How you doing?
Can't complain. Could be better if the pass won.
Yep.
Paul, I love the anger. I'm glad that you're angry after this. Divisional opponent, the game we should have won. Cats fans don't really know how to react after losses. And it's like we go and aiming at the coaches, we go and aiming at the it's the execution.
Right. It's never because they're not good enough. It's either the coaches let them down, the officials screwed them, or something fluky happened, or the other team treated it like a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
that's the 5 greatest hits of a Patriots loss.
Exactly. And when we was 2-4, we had a purpose. We had a reason to get back into the games. We had a reason to fight. We got in a 7-game winning streak, and I believe after that bye, we just lost that energy. We lost that energy, and you had Judon. He was in the press conferences. We was all laughy and jokey. We was in good moods. It's like we lost that energy.
Yep.
Yeah. I tell you what, the energy is remarkably up and evident after a win, no matter how you get the win, and strangely absent after a loss, especially 3 out of 4 to end the season. So energy-wise, they've been in a weird place here. Matt Owens said something along the same lines about, what you're seeing from this team right now. He says, now we understand what the rest of the NFL has been experiencing the last 20 years. Glad we're in the playoffs. Still pleased overall with the season, but not too optimistic we'll see another win this season. Yet you're going to be an underdog no matter who you face, whether it's the Bengals or the Bills. So you got to be prepared for that.
Can I comment on one more thing? Because
you can comment on as many things as you want, Mike. We probably got another 20, 25 minutes to go here.
It's more like 15.
Did you get
15?
Did you get a lot of talk this week? I know we didn't talk about it that much, but I got a lot of talk this week about Miami having the worst offensive line in the league.
Oh yeah,
and
that's one of the things that I'm illustrating with the 3.5 yards per carry. They were 31st in the league.
One quarterback hit, one sack. And
that was on Tua. The sack was on Tua, right?
I'm just, that's just that. I mean, that.
Well,
we have the run defense, but I mean, it's just, I mean, I know they didn't throw it that much, but it's just again, is the point of generally.
To me, it's the run more so than anything else. That's
right.
a terrible
and that
offensive line, and they pushed it right down your throat.
Everything is on the Patriots' side of the ball. Everything. They're not causing any kind of disruption, no kind of pressure. It's just all that has evaporated somehow.
Going to go to Australia now to talk to Rob on the Patriots Postgame Show presented by Cyber Reason. Hello, Rob.
Evening, boys. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Good day, man.
I knew it.
Hey, congratulations, Hardy, on the Lions getting a win today and costing the first-round pick. So congratulations.
Yeah, well, you know what? It doesn't matter because they suck at drafting anyway. So
I didn't even want it.
Let Josh McDaniels have it with the Jaguars for next year.
I had a question for you guys. One, wide receiver. I was watching that Kansas City game yesterday, and I think it's McCole. I can't pronounce his name. McCole Hardman.
Hardman, yeah.
He caught one of those little short wide receiver screens and took it. Paul, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, if that play happened in the regular part of the game, it would have been a touchdown. All he was concentrating on once he broke into the clear was not fumbling. Yeah, I know exactly the play you're talking about.
And I'm looking at our team, and it's devoid of that. Yep. And if they don't take a second or third round pick and just take a shot at someone this draft, it just kills me every year.
You just look. They made more big plays today offensively than they probably have all season. And you just look what it took to make them. You know, Hunter Henry making a diving catch, Jacoby Myers making a diving catch, Jacoby Myers jumping over a guy on the sideline to come down with another 30-yarder. Like, they don't get any 10-yard slants that turn into 50-yard gains.
Right.
None.
Yep.
There's no dynamic element to the offense. That's a great catch by Jacoby Myers in our highlights right there.
Beautiful. To borrow a phrase from the incredible, beautiful. A lot of that today. I'm sorry. What were you saying, Rob? Go ahead.
Final thing.
Yep.
I was thinking about. Sorry, guys. The 2011 Super Bowl popped into my mind, and Paul, you probably know the punter's name in that Super Bowl for the Giants, but special teams won that game, I believe, for the Giants back in that Super Bowl 2011 with field position, and this entire year, blocked punts, penalties on special teams, really bad kickoffs, really bad kick returns. We need to sort that out as well, because I think that's cost us the New Orleans game and the Indy game, because they had those double scores, and then you're digging out of a two-score game and you can't play.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Steve Weatherford? Is that
could have been?
Does that ring a bell?
Sounds about right.
Yes.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, just go to the Patriots win in the 2018 Super Bowl. The was it 53?
Ryan Allen.
Ryan Allen was.
Yeah. Fantastic.
The last of the 6 wins, right? Yep. Ryan Allen was as important in that game as anybody.
Jay is in Florida, and Jay is on the Patriots Postgame Show. What's up, Jay?
Hi, guys. The first time caller, great show.
Thank you. Thanks for calling.
Thanks, Jay.
Just had a question about, I know Paul doesn't like people criticizing the play calling, but one play in particular that really annoyed me was in the third quarter. I think it was the third quarter. Patriots are down 2 scores. And for whatever reason, they got Mac Jones into center. So I think it was a second and 10 play, and they sacked him. I mean, he didn't even have a chance. He didn't even have a chance to drop back. I mean, why is he having in a situation like that? What is he doing under center for one thing? I mean, the Dolphins do. They're going to pass 2nd and 10. I mean, just that kind of play really hit me. It was a pretty crucial part of the game, I thought, too. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I certainly wouldn't sit here and tell you that I agree with every play call during the course of the season. So I'm not really familiar. I know there was a play that got sacked. I'm not really sure I remember exactly what all the parameters were. But, yeah, I mean, it would seem to be an odd time to do that. 2nd and 10 to have them under center. Down 3 scores, or 2 scores, whatever the case may have been.
Spread them out.
Yep. I want to grab Eldred here in North Carolina before we step aside and for one final time. Eldred, what's happening, man?
Like I was telling Mac, I just had to pull over early to watch the game, and I should have kept rolling.
I was hoping you didn't find a spot, Eldred.
I found a spot, boy, without cussing. But if I was at home, I'd probably be drunk right about now. But that's Paul, I agree with everything you said about the draft, but I still got problems with our GM. But other than that, Deuce, I agree with you too. But what you gonna do next year with Hightower, McCourty, and you're gonna have what you call back, and they're gonna be a year older and a year slower. So if you ain't got,
I think they got to rip the Band-Aid off.
Bill like keeping the soldiers. I think Bill like keeping the soldiers. To be honest with you.
I think there's an element to that, but that is a luxury that Bill may not have anymore. He could afford to keep some guys around that he liked. He thought, played a role and certainly did their jobs, but he had enough other guys doing, something beyond their jobs to make up for any real playmaking ability or guys that could impact the game. He needs some impact players now, and I don't know that he can afford to keep a bunch of guys around just because these guys get it and they know what we're trying to do here. He just needs guys who can do it and maybe do a little bit more than he's got right now.
Wow, just make plays.
I agree with you, Hardy, but that's his boys. You know? I mean, he plays some people way past the time you're supposed to let them go.
Yeah.
And some he wasn't supposed to let go, he let go.
Right.
So I'm just saying. I don't know. But I don't want to see Cincinnati or Kansas City because that's secondary. It sucks now. It's a secondary. You know what I mean? So, no, I don't think we'll get Chase and Higgins and Boyd, and then you got Mixon coming out the back. No, I don't. Yep. That won't be a good game to watch.
No. All right. Well, Eldred, keep her between the lines, my friend. We'll talk to you again next week, I'm sure.
Yeah, I found the sack. It was 2nd and 10 in the second quarter at 17-7. So it's not, to me, that's not as egregious as the way it was described. Mm-hmm. It was 2nd and 10 from the Patriots 41 with about 2 minutes. The play after the 2-minute warning. They had a when you come in as an extra. He reported as ineligible. I don't think running the ball is off the table there. They try to play action, and they sacked Jones for an 8-yard loss, which obviously short-circuited that drive. But, and Fred chimes in, and I would agree with Fred again on the second and 1 sneaks. They did another one in this game. Even worse, the other team's doing it too, which is disgusting football. Tua had one on a 2nd and 1. Fred also he thinks he wants to throw Matthew Slater's hat in the ring for the special teams coach next year.
Oh,
so Freddie's chiming in on his way home from Miami.
All right, we'll step aside one final time here. Thank you to Bose, proud to be the official sound and headphones of the New England Patriots and the NFL. Bose Quiet Comfort earbuds. Rule the quiet. Learn more at Bose.com.
Defending against cyber attacks requires seeing in the dark, understanding and ending every threat to your organization on computers, mobile, and the cloud. It takes cyber reason. End cyber attacks from endpoints to everywhere.
Football's back, and it's time to go big. Pepsi pulled pork sandwiches are game day greatness. Now we're ready for game day. Check out some more awesome recipes on madeforpatriotswatching.com.
An active lifestyle means you never stop moving. That's why only Theragun devices are designed to release your body's deepest muscle tension, so you can do the things you love. You only have one body. Make it a TheraBody.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
I want to know why I have to waste all this time worrying about it. Like I'm up at night clutching my pearls.
I don't about for 20 minutes.
It's a talk show. We talk.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
I got an email I wanted to run past you, gentlemen. This is from Neil in Canada. He said, might be the most frustrating Patriots game I've watched in years. Here are my comments. We've answered the defer question. It doesn't matter. If you play like the Patriots did in the first quarter, you'll lose. That's
I would strongly agree with that. But can I just give a little update on the defer thing?
Yeah.
So Denver last night.
Yeah.
Denver, Kansas City. Denver won the toss.
Yeah.
Elected to receive.
Mm.
A rarity. They then went 3-0. Kansas City went down and scored. Kansas City then scored to close the half on a field goal, got the ball to start the second half, and went down and scored a touchdown. That's about as bad as you can get on any scenario.
Wow, that would have been worse. NFL needs to fix completely bogus calls like the one called on Bolden.
Yeah. How about the one on Rowe? Does that need to be fixed? Or
Yeah.
I'm probably pretty sure that one was okay.
Bill Belichick not going for it on 4th and 6 inches is pathetic. Another coach would be fired for that. I've railed on the
Now we
4th.
want to fire the coach.
Well,
Won 6
I've railed on the 4th and inches call. I don't get it. I don't get it.
No, but it's been all
I
year.
understand what you're trying to do. What I don't understand is why you're trying to do it. Why not? It's 4th and inches. Fall down, and you get the first down.
And it's just, you just needed something, you know. Like you need to like just go for it. And I think it's all been all season.
How many
It's just
times do you
been
see
kind of a
someone get
strange
stuffed
decision-making process.
and stood up at the line on 4th and inches?
Well, I mean, I've seen it, but I just think this, to me, that's one that you have to do. I bet you that's one we see tomorrow in Edge Sports, Mike. What if you didn't get it? So the other team's got the ball at the 45-yard line. It's a pop gun offense anyway. Like, where are they going? Yeah, they're probably going to try to go down and get a field goal. And if you do, I think that the risk of trying to get points outweighs the risk of giving up more in that situation.
Yeah. I'll be shocked if we win our playoff game, singular. We're 10-7, but we're not really that good. That's from Neil. I would say this, Neil. Were you saying they were that good when they were 9-4? Because you're not allowed to say both those things. You can't say you were a legit 9-4 team, but you're not a legit 10-7 team. I'd say yes, they're a 10-7 team. If anything, I'd say 9-4. I mean, I said it out loud. I'm like, I can't believe this team. I can't believe this team has rattled off 7 straight wins. I can't believe it. Now, did I ever come out and say they're not a true 9-4 team? No, but I was more on the side of, yeah, you got to see it against a little bit more. I think they are a legitimate 10-7 football team, especially this year, and especially with, and I'll give them, all the credit that they deserve for those 10 wins. But the other stuff I agree with them on. I mean, based on who's left and who they are going to end up facing, whether it's Cincinnati or Buffalo, it's going to be tough to pick up wins on the road against either one of those teams. It'd be tough to beat either one of those teams at Gillette Stadium. Yeah. So it's going to be tough.
I agree with everything you said. I think that they've earned the right to be 10-7.
Yes.
I think the league is what it is. I mean, you could sit there and mock some of the wins, but they played the Jets twice. They played Houston. They played Jacksonville. You're gonna rack up wins. Like, the league is, the league is what it is. And I don't think they need to make any apologies for winning 10 games. They didn't really. I mean, aside from the Buffalo win game, they didn't really upset anybody.
Yeah,
they beat the teams that they were better than.
It just go into this playoff game, and and just try not to beat yourself. Just like I'm not expecting them to win. Just go in and just don't turn the ball over and take stupid, uncharacteristic penalties and special teams mistakes. Like, if you do that...
If you lose the game because the other team... I would say like the Buffalo game. The Buffalo game here, I know they had a turnover in that game, but they didn't necessarily...
But you lost straight up, and
they
you didn't
necessarily
really kill
beat
yourself.
themselves. They didn't kill themselves all game.
Right. Just try to do that because, and I said that this week, and it was somewhat of a... I don't want to say we were overlooking this game, but it was just kind of like, we'll go, and, it's Miami, and it is what it is, but... if you go in and you have another performance like this in the playoff game, and you lose, maybe convincingly, or it's just such a terrible, terrible finish to the season, and I just keep going back to this Miami game as a division opponent that you lost to earlier in the year, and then you lost to them the same way at the end. I think you still have something to show here at the end that you're a better team than you showed maybe down here at the stretch, at least as far as just playing some good football and giving it your all and giving the other team hell and making them earn the victory, and you come out of that game in Buffalo or Cincy, even if they win, says, well, wow, that was a war at least. Like, that's what I want coming out of this. But it's a real disappointing game. I know the last caller said it was painful to watch. I agree. It was, and it was everything I was hoping it wasn't, right down to the injuries, which was the worst part of it all, perhaps.
I tell you, if you go back after they picked up a few wins after the 2-4 start, and they're sitting above 500 for the first time, they're at 5-4. A lot of the stuff we said then holds true now with a similar record, and that is you can't circle wins for this team. You don't take anything for granted. You're happy that they've won a few games, but it's still a work in progress. And you extrapolate that out. You played almost twice as many games since then. The record is about the same. You go from 5-4 at one point to 10-7 now, and you say that now you can say the same thing. You don't circle wins for this team, and it's a work in progress.
Yeah, and I never really, when they were atop the AFC, I don't think I ever was thinking that they were legitimately one of the best teams in the conference. I think the highest my hopes got were that they had a chance to win the division. That was, I think that was what was unexpected this year, that they had a real chance to do that. I mean, they got a chance to face Buffalo here at home with a real chance to put a significant nail in that coffin and take back the division. And I think that's where my, expectations really fell there. But I never was under the illusion that this was a team that the road to the Super Bowl is going through Gillette. And, and I think a lot of this too is and I hate having to point it out, but, a lot of it's the fact that Kansas City and Buffalo struggled for a huge portion of the year. And that's, a big reason why the Patriots were in that mix of atop the AFC. But ultimately, when it came down to it, when the rubber met the road, they lost those games.
Yeah, and I think that's as simple as you can put it.
Any other final thoughts, gentlemen, as we put a bow on this post-game show? As we will keep watching what happens here with the Chargers and the Raiders. Chargers win, it's Bengals. Raiders win, it's Bills. Is that right?
That's as simple as you can make it.
There you go. So we'll keep an eye on that.
And if it's a tie...
I don't know right now.
If it's a tie, it's the Bills.
It's Bills.
Tie goes to the runner.
Tie, it's Bills.
Do we know this?
No.
Okay. I just had it up and I closed it out. I don't know why I would do
9,
that.
7-1. No, the tie would be.
Hold on a second.
Tie would be the Bengals.
I can tell
right?
you.
Yeah, I can
tie
tell
would
you
be
too.
the Bengals.
And I'll
Tie
tell you
would be
one
the
thing.
Bengals.
Tie, Steelers are out.
Right.
Yep.
That much
Exactly.
I know. That much I know. So we will do it again next week. And we will be here for the pregame show.
Could be Saturday. Could be Sunday.
Could be Saturday. Could be a Sunday.
Could be Monday.
Yeah. Tie, it's Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. We
that's
got that right. All right. Very good. So whenever the playoff game number 1 happens, we will be here for everybody involved with the show. Thank you very much. Final score for the final time. Patriots 24.
He was going to forget that time.
Dolphins 33. Thank you for listening and watching.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.